everybody. I don't know what's happening right now, so I don't know why this thing isn't working, but that's fine. We'll survive. I am joined by my weekly co-host, Shane O'Hare. I was like, I clicked a video, and the video either played or didn't play. I don't know. It's possible that it still starts and interrupts us in the middle of this conversation, which would be on point. But we are here to talk about the last 3 episodes of Twisted Metal Season 2.
We are. We are.
And we're going to go through...
Uh-oh. I lost you completely. Did I lose me? Uh-oh.
All
Did
right,
I lose?
I'm back.
All right, we're back. Okay.
Oh, man.
Yo.
This is a crazy start to this stream. Calypso does not want us talking about this shit.
Absolutely not.
There we... Okay, I think we're through it.
Okay. Solar flares. You know, we got some low level atmospheric activity, so it's okay. It's okay.
We're gonna go episode by episode of these last 3 episodes to discuss them, but I just want to get your season 2 thoughts. What good, bad, indifferent? How did you feel about season 2 now that the ride is done?
It was really, really good. I really, really enjoyed it. It had more dips in it than I would have liked, like stuff going on. There was a bunch of filler episodes. And I'm watching it with my dad, who has no idea what the hell's going on. And his like very abrupt, curt reviews at the end are a good barometer for how I feel, where he's like, oh, they didn't really move the story along on this one. I didn't like it so much. It's like, yeah, you know what? That's a pretty good, unfiltered review, since he's not he doesn't get any of the references or any of the songs. He just is just watching the show. But I really liked it. At the end, things went nutso. They were dropping references. They're setting up season 3, and it is. I'm excited. I'm hyped, and I'm really hoping they're going to get more and more weird, because these last 3 episodes, the weirdness, the magic, the actual twisted part of Twisted Metal started coming out, and I got really, really happy. So I loved it. Must watch TV.
Yeah, I think that it makes sense why they aired all 3 of these episodes at once instead of spreading it out over 2 weeks, because all of these episodes kind of feed into each other really nicely. This feels like one cohesive 90-minute story when you watch them all together. I am really proud of you specifically. You called a lot of predictions, and we're going to get into some of them. But hey, we did get the answer to our question of are we going to get the end of Twisted Metal? If so, how do they possibly go into a season 2 if they have to kill all of these characters? We did find that, okay, you don't have to kill the character, but you do have to destroy the car. Destroy the car or eliminate the person from the car. So that does allow us to keep some of these characters that we love, which is, I think, a nice little conceit. We still got a decent amount of bloodshed on a lot of characters despite that. But we really do have a pretty good understanding of okay, our 5 main characters are firmly these people now. I think when you walk away from it, these are the 5 that you're banking on. So we'll start with episode 10. So if you remember, episode 9 ended with everybody tied into different cars in a lightning storm after prom. So they all receive a card that has a name on it, and their goal is to eliminate that person in order to move on to the final round. I think I wrote these all down correctly, but John has Axel, Quiet has Mayhem, Vermin has John, Mayhem has Raven, Raven has Vermin, and Axel has Quiet.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure that's the groupings. So they're all we're getting this awesome, this is probably, of all of the car things, the one that most feels like a level of Twisted Metal. You've just got all these cars flying around. There's lightning striking everywhere. It is fucking dope. But we keep jumping away from that to go and see what the other racers are up to.
Yes, which I found the narrative, the way that they set up this car fight where some of the contestants had to be removed for reasons, because otherwise, it would be just all done in this episode. So they removed Stu, Mike, Sweet Tooth, and Grim for a tribunal or a trial because there was some rule breaking going on. And
the murders. I love that they had to solve the murders of both Dave and Harold.
Yes,
like, Calypso is taking it that seriously that they have to have a trial to figure out who killed Harold. The paper bag.
Yep. But yeah, they were they brought everybody into the well room. Calypso was accusing Stu of being a cannibal and eating Dave. They wheeled Dave's body in. There was a lot of funny humor to it. They were like checking bite marks on his ass.
Stu acting to Dave's corpse is so funny. It's just like,
yeah.
Oh God, no, not Dave.
What happened? And then it was like, he's like, oh, it looked like he hung himself. There's a noose. Look at the noose.
But yeah, so they do conclude that Stu's story makes sense, that Dave was a cannibal, and that that he was fighting in self-defense and that Dave killed himself. So technically Stu did not take anybody's life. He just tried to cover it up. And I do love that Mike is like, I believe him. Plus I found some body parts underneath.
And when this was all going on, Sweet Tooth was trying to poke holes in Stu's story. He's like, "Oh, Kodak wouldn't have done that. Like, there's no way that happened. I don't believe it." And and he's like, "Well," and then when they find out that he tripped and fell, Sweet Tooth's like, "Yeah, you know what? Stu's pretty clumsy, so I believe that happened. Yeah."
And then when they do the trial for Harold, Grim is found guilty. But Sweet Tooth actually pleads for mercy on Grim, not because he doesn't want Grim to die. He just wants to be the one to kill Grim. He's like, listen, it's going to be way more rewarding for you to watch me kill him than anything else. But then I do love that we get this kind of funny, interesting moment where Calypso is like, all right, well, you still took away Sweet Tooth's best friend, so I have to take something from you. And he takes Grim's souls, which still makes it this weird in between, because Calypso is acknowledging that Grim is possessed by the souls of all these people that he's killed. But we still get that view where it jumps up to Stu and Mike, and they're just staring at this weird pantomiming happening between the two of them.
Yeah.
And they're like, what is this?
You see this shot of Calypso putting his hand out, and all the souls are being sucked out of Grim's mouth, and he's holding an orb, and then it hard cuts to another angle, and it's just them sitting there, and Grim's like,
there is a really funny line that I wrote down that's a reference to I think episode 4. Where they're being chased out. Well, let's go back to the race. So back at the race, Vermin starts to attack John, and Quiet runs interference. But before Vermin can kill John, Raven blows up her car. Vermin actually survives the explosion, but then is struck by lightning. And there's a great bit where Vermin's hanging on to the window of John's car, and he's trying to get her off. But then, despite killing her target and being clearance to go back to the school, she's like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna kill John next."
Because she has a super weapon. She has the ability. She has a special. She can harvest the lightning and shoot like a laser beam, and that's what she's using to take people out.
Yes, but while this is happening, Axel is trying to take out Quiet. So John and Quiet are working as a team, and John throws something out his window that gets caught in Axel's wheel and causes him to spin out. And there's a back and forth on their walkies. When Quiet goes, "That's a great throw," and he goes, "Actually, I was aiming for his head," and she goes, "Shit, you really needed those glasses."
which is I think like a 10-minute scene from earlier in the season. So I always love
literally
like
season 4 when he gets glasses and is like,
yeah.
you know how the world's blurry all the time, and they're like, no. But we see that. So that happens. Axel, side note, is also trying to protect Mayhem, who we learned
Yeah.
in the last episode is the baby whose life he spared years ago.
Yeah. And this whole well, we'll continue because I do have a critique of that narrative.
Yeah. So Raven misses her shot at John and instead hits Mayhem's car. John and Quiet immediately jump out of their cars to chase after her to make sure that she's okay. And
Which
this
I
is where
do
Axel runs interference. Like
yeah, and I do feel the scene like that the car crash that took Mayhem out was really fast and abrupt, and I was genuinely like, I don't know, car crashes like creep me out. I was in a bad car crash when I was 16, so sometimes car crash scenes, like really quick ones, kind of like like hit me. So I thought that
watching TV shows where characters look at each other to talk because I get tense that there will be a car crash. I don't like watching car crashes and stuff. It always gives me an irk.
there was a movie mid 2000s, like when I was in high school. I can never remember the name. It might be called The Knowing, but it's about. I saw it in theaters. It's about like aliens or something or some kind of like secret government thing. But people will get like. There's a scene at the end of the movie where like some FBI person is trying to like save these other people, and she gets like she's about to tell them like the big governmental secret, and she gets like ripped up into the sky. There's a car crash scene in this movie that is so quick. It's people just calm and driving down the road, and they get T-boned. And that I still have every once in a while like a bad dream about that movie. This was like a know nothing. So this was a know nothing movie. But that scene, just the super abrupt car crash. Like I wish I could remember the movie. It was dog shit. But anyway,
I'm sure it wasn't good. But yeah,
no.
so they run interference. That car crash happens. It's crazy. Axel sacrifices himself, kind of gets a bit of a hero's death. Now, I will jump ahead to the very end of the show because we get 2 post-credit endings, and the second post-credit ending kind of implies that Axel is not dead. We see the hamster from where Axel was created in the first place, and it's just kind of this implicate, like, it's like, all right, like, maybe Axel's still alive.
I interpreted that as something from the Human Axel project. There's like more experiments coming from there. So I would be very surprised if Axel shows back up. But now that you're pointing it out, he jumped in front of Raven's laser beam. His hands like melt, and he just like starts to die, and then he like slumps over and then just kind of wheels away.
Yeah.
But this level is like this weird.
There's enough magic where he could be like even more Frankenstein-y than he was in this season. You know what I mean? Like he's even more merged into that vehicle permanently or something.
And he did, if I recall correctly, have some pretty like significant character changes over the games, like character model changes, which everybody did, but this would be a good because they got his character model pretty spot on in the show.
Oh,
so
yeah. There's shots where he's spinning around and I'm having legitimate flashbacks to playing like Twisted Metal and Twisted Metal 2 with friends. Like the movements are like chef's kiss level of perfect.
Yeah. But continue.
So we basically at this point, I think that's the end, right? Axel and Vermin are the only 2 that are eliminated from this final round, and Raven, John, Quiet, and that's it. Those 3 move forward because we lose Raven, we lose Mayhem. Her car is destroyed, so she's eliminated, Axel is supposedly killed and Vermin is definitely killed. So they're able to cut the group in half. So that is the end of the race at this point.
And in this episode, Mayhem is driving around in the passenger seat of Quattro, and there's a scene where like Quattro has an error, and she pulls out the like the CPU head unit and blows on it like it's a Nintendo cartridge and puts it back in, which again, later on, I think in the episode 12, we get a closer idea to like what year it is, and I think this show takes place in like 2025.
Yeah.
Like it has to take place contemporary time wise because there's a flashback scene. So the people making this show are hitting for people in our age bracket, like 1000%.
100%. So when we get back to the school, Mike is going to team up with Stu. Stu and Sweet Tooth's partnership separate, but Sweet Tooth's fine with it. Like Stu is like, listen, Mike's my herald, like you got to stick with your herald or whatever.
Yeah.
We also get a revelation of what Mayhem's wish was now that she will not be receiving it. And we see that what she wished for was to belong to a group. And she's achieved that with John and Quiet, or so she thinks. So Mayhem follows Calypso through a secret door and finds that he is creating Minion to be the final boss of this tournament. And as she's about to go find John and Quiet to give them a heads up, she overhears them discussing how she's become a bit of a liability for them, which hurts her feelings, and she runs off to leave the school. End of episode. I will give, I will say this much. One thing that we haven't mentioned yet, I always did the banger of the episode, which is basically just what song was in the episode. This was the weakest collection of songs, and I still like these songs, but this one we get the Bjork song, All Is Full of Love. This is probably my least favorite needle drop in the whole series, and I don't even mind the Bjork song. It just is like, it doesn't match in the wrong way. Like, the way that like during like the big fight last week was like a cool juxtaposition. This one just didn't work for me. But we jump right into the next episode, episode 11. Calypso has already captured Mayhem. It's like it's like reading a Goosebumps book with that cliffhanger. It's like Mayhem leaves, Mayhem captured. Like, there's no real tension there. She's captured, and he's going to force her to be a spectator for the final round as punishment for seeing the Minion in advance. And they reach the final round,
which I found like that I found that their scene was really well acted. Like he's like, oh, you saw something that you shouldn't have seen. It's like, I didn't see anything. It's like, good. And she's like, yeah, I didn't see anything that you were doing. It's like, what are you seeing? Like they had a really good like these two characters that didn't like really interact at all before, like had a good chemistry. And I do before we move on. Sorry, I forgot the critique. I felt that the Axel Mayhem storyline was rushed a little bit. I really wished that
it's only over 2 episodes. Yeah, that could have been, we should have gotten, if we'd gotten Axel's flashback episode like at episode 3, and we had spent like a couple weeks being like, so who the fuck's that baby?
Yeah,
like,
exactly. I felt, and at least because he, from their point of view, just like randomly like jumps on a bullet for them, and they're like, yeah, I guess he was kind of a cool dude. It like we knew, the audience knew, but I wish there was a kind of like more of a payoff. But maybe he does come back, and that there is some kind of further character development there.
Hopefully, because I do feel like it's kind of a lame duck ending for Axel.
Yeah.
Because he is a really fucking cool character. And I will say another cool character is Calypso. I think that Calypso is an interesting character who's kind of one of those perfect villains in the sense of like, he is undeniably evil. He does evil shit constantly on this show. But then there's like these moments, like you said, when he's talking to Mayhem, where there is this like, I want to say humility, but like amusement of the characters like John, Quiet, and Mayhem that aren't like evil or selfish people
Yeah.
that he finds charming. And like, I don't know if he finds it charming because it's easier to manipulate them, if he finds it charming because he wants to see how far he can push them to become evil, or like I said last week, like I do wonder, like if John or Quiet won, would he monkey paw their wish the way he monkey paws everybody's? Because almost everybody else is acting out of selfishness.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
so it's like he raises those questions where it's like, would he fuck over our two main characters or not? Because he does seem genuinely charmed and amused by them in a
Yeah.
way that he's not a lot of the other people. So when they get to the final round, this is when they realize, and I love this reveal, they realize that Calypso has been broadcasting all of this. And there are people who are like fans. Like there are spectators who have the person they're cheering for, the person that they're like the most invested in. And I just love that realization that they had no clue that everyone was paying attention to them.
Yeah.
So the final
I
matchup
do.
is,
I do have. I do have a. Sorry, I do have an Easter egg that I saw. When they get delivered to the final tournament stage, the area, which is this big stadium. There's these two giant. There's an audience of insiders, an audience of outsiders. A jumbotron. This big platform where Calypso is proselytizing from. And when they get, like you said, there's people wearing like Sweet Tooth masks and like Mr. Grimm masks. Like they've got fans. When the bus from the high school pulls up, I noticed that it was the school that they were staying in was Jaffe Campbell High School. David Jaffe and Steve Campbell were the two creators of the PS1 video game.
that's a great Easter egg.
Yeah.
Obviously I don't know the games as well as you do, but I did catch an Easter egg in episode 12 that I wrote down. So when we get there, I'll mention it. But
Okay.
The final matchup we have is John and Quiet versus Sweet Tooth versus Mr. Grimm versus Raven versus Mike and Stu. Now, John and Quiet are a team in two separate cars, while Mike and Stu are in a singular car. They're in the Hammerhead. Quiet kills Mike, causing Stu to crash the car and lose.
Which that was
Shocking that Quiet killed somebody.
Yeah, and then also like the scene where she's driving backwards and like John is creating interference and John like pulls out of the way and she shoots through the windshield and Mike dies. And I was genuinely like, oh, people are dying. People like the Vermin and Axel Death were kind of throwaways. They weren't like, they were like C+ like tier characters in the narrative. But like Mike was all like throughout season 1.
Yeah, season 1, like episode 2. Like he's been like an OG.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and he gets peppered, and I was like, "Oh, people are dying. People will die."
Then we find that Raven is cheating. As she gets attacked by Sweet Tooth, she's able to use a shield to keep her from getting hurt, and then she can use that to blow up Sweet Tooth's truck. This pisses off Calypso, who then we get, you always said, you love when you see the magic. His eyes turn black suddenly, and all of Raven's secret code stuff shuts down.
Yeah, he calls it cheat codes, which is like, he's like,
so good. Yeah, he's like, she's using cheat codes. John uses a boomerang missile to blow up Raven now that her shields are down. And then as Raven dies, she envisions her friend Kelly is reaching out her hand for her.
Yeah.
I am confident that, maybe Axel will come back, but I will put Raven right on there with Vermin as like, this is the end of us seeing this character.
Oh yeah, she's toasted. She's
like,
toasted.
This definitely dead. John and Quiet take out Grimm's bike, and this is where we get this awesome hand-to-hand Sweet Tooth Grimm fight. It's been building to this all season, and Sweet Tooth fucking murks Grimm by tossing him right under the tires of John and Quiet's car. Just as they happen to drive by. I am not sold that this is the end of Grimm, however. I think that we get like I said, I think that we get the next evolution of Grimm as like an actual undead biker in a later season. Maybe not
Yeah.
season 3, but it just because I feel like there's so much more you can do with Grimm, and he's such a cool character that it's like
Like
I want more.
he has like what I do like about the fight is they were talking about like why Sweet Tooth hates Grimm, and we come to find out when Grimm got sent to the asylum, he became like the most popular guy in the asylum, and Sweet Tooth didn't like seeing the limelight pulled away from him, which goes back to him being a child actor when like the dog came on the TV show and he became second billing. I do again. I feel like it was like Grimm's death was a little bit rushed. I mean, it was probably like less than 5 minutes of total.
Yeah,
like
which is why
fight.
I feel like he's not truly gone, because that is like with both him and Axel, it's such a rushed death for characters that were like starting to get more development that I'm hoping that they're not gone for good. And
Grimm, the character, is probably my favorite character in this season. His design, his acting, the actor was great with like the voice changes.
Yeah.
I think he looks cool. Motorcycles are cool. I really wish we got more of them. There was like
spoil it just yet, but as we learn in the last episode, dead characters can come back via Calypso.
Yes.
So that's why I'm like, I think that there's still a chance for Grimm. Like I hope that I'm correct that we get more Grimm. This is when it's down to just John and Quiet. It seems like they've won because they're the only ones left. And then Calypso flies in the minion, which I love that Sweet Tooth runs and flips over his car and then realizes that he locked his keys in the car. So then he just rips the gun off of his car and starts firing it at this thing. And this thing beats the shit out of Sweet Tooth.
Yeah,
it's like a brutal beatdown.
Which with the death of Mike and Grimm and Sweet Tooth just getting like pummeled, and Minion, who's like teleporting around, picked him up and then like threw him into a Connex, and there's like a big puddle of blood underneath him. I thought, oh, Sweet Tooth is toast. Maybe the show does have a finite ending of season 2.
Yeah.
Like I was starting to see stuff like getting wrapped up. Yeah. And you know, point of notice, Minion in the games was always the like hidden final boss. And the character design is pretty close to what the character design looks like. Of course, like it changed throughout the games, but in the first Twisted Metal, Minion was the first Twisted Metal game. You fought Minion at the end, and Minion was last year's or the last Twisted Metal's like winner. But then it became like Minion was a demon that kept like coming back, was mad at Calypso. And there was a couple of changes, and I did see a bit of trivia where I was after the episode 12 ended. They designed, they wanted Minion's design to feel like a Dragon Ball Z villain.
I could see that. Actually.
Like they straight up was like, yeah, we were heavily inspired by Dragon Ball Z, which explains the like quick teleporting around and like the different like just the overall like character design with the spikes and everything. So I feel like our people are making the show. This isn't like a show by committee. I think our people are making the show.
Nerds, for sure. So after Sweet Tooth is beaten up and fully eliminated, John is thrown from his car from an explosion caused by Minion, which causes him to be eliminated. Quiet then rams the car into Minion, but she also jumps out of the car because she knows it's going to explode, kind of eliminating herself. And I do love this hilarious reveal that because even though his car was shot up, because Stu never left the car where he was in with Mike, he becomes the default winner.
Yeah, because they have there was a, which I thought was excellent writing during the trial scene. Stu gets stabbed in the leg by Calypso for staging the suicide,
Yeah.
and then Mike gets stabbed in the arm because like, oh, you found body parts, you didn't say anything, so this is your punishment.
Yeah,
And because
all of this could have been avoided if you had told us in advance that Dave had reverted to being accountable.
yeah, and what and because of that, Mike and Stu have like 2 sets of pedals and 2 steering wheels in the car, and Mike, having full use of his legs, is running the accelerator, and then Stu is steering because he has full use of his arms. So because of that, Mike gets peppered, and Stu wakes up after the crash and like backs out into the center of the arena. Like he's like, "All right, let's get ready to go." And Calypso's like, "Oh, I guess Stu's the winner."
He goes, "Congratulations to the winners, Mike and Stu." Oh, Mike's dead. Just Stu.
It was like I thought that was great.
It's so smart. And then the crowd is cheering. This is when Mayhem just brutally slashes one of Calypso's guards' throats. And I do love, again, Calypso, like, don't give a fuck. Like, she kills the guard, and he's just like, all right, fine. I thought I could have swayed you away from them, but obviously they're your friends. Go hang out with John and Quiet. And then his eyes turn black, and he's like, not that any of it's going to matter in a minute. And then the fucking stadium blows up, killing all of the spectators.
Yeah.
And
they blew up all of the insiders side. Yeah. Which again, I was like, wait, we got another episode of this. What is going to happen?
That's what I was thinking. I'm like, where is this going to go? So episode 2, the banger of the episode, and I think the best song that shows up in this collection of episodes is when the fucking Twisted Metal tournament starts. It's set to Jimmy Eat World's Bleed American, which is just such a fucking banger of a song. But yes, so then we get to the final episode of this season, and you mentioned it earlier last week, but we go to 1585 in Virginia, which I believe is where the whole like Roanoke thing happens.
Yep.
And Calypso emerges from the wishing well.
Yeah.
In the middle of the woods, and then we like immediately jump to the early 2000s, and Calypso is now pitching the Twisted Metal competition to NBC, which
was great. And I do really like.
I wrote a shit ton of quotes here. Like,
yes, I do want to point out that like it opened in this really stylistic, like black and white kind of like film grain, and there's 2 like stereotypical pilgrim dudes walking through the woods, and there's the wishing well, and Calypso climbs out, and he's doing this. He's talking about how like I came to America, and America is like the land of opportunity, and he just climbs out of the well covered in mud. Yeah. So it really cements the fact that like, okay, he's magic. Like he's pure magic.
So he's doing this big elaborate pitch, and he's like, and it'll be celebrities in the car, and it like cuts to a slide, and they go, wait, you got Wesley? And he goes, no, but Carson Daly is very interesting.
Yeah.
Which like made me laugh. There is a reference to the game that I laughed at where he's like, imagine celebrities in cars driving around the Eiffel Tower.
Yeah.
Like one of the most iconic, like early Twisted Metal levels is just like driving around France, like blowing up shit.
Yeah.
And then, he says like, he does that speech about like, do you know why people can't look away from a car crash? And he goes through the whole thing. Like, you'll have every eye of America. And they say, we already got all the eyes of America. It's called Friends. Also, we have a new show coming up called Battle Bots. And this sounds about the same. So we're going to, it's so...
we forgot to tell, does Stu get his wish in the last episode of this one?
No, it's in this episode.
Okay. So it is this one. All right.
Yeah. We get this flashback, and then it cuts back to the mayhem of the explosion. We see Sweet Tooth's body get taken away by an unseen group. Mayhem, John, and Quiet drive off in Sweet Tooth's car while they catch John up on kind of everything that happened. And John, I do love this. John gives Mayhem the cartoon map that he drew, and she goes, finally, a map I can read.
Yeah. My dad laughed at that one. My dad really liked that joke.
But then we jump back to Calypso talking to Stu, and we see Stu make his wish. Sweet Tooth gets distracted by an exit sign, and Stu throws a quarter into the wishing well, and he wishes to be far away from everything and safe with Mike. Well, Calypso says, and he even says, "Do you want your wish exactly as you worded it?"
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and Stu
then
says, "Yes, I do." And then it's immediate cut to Earth through a space capsule window, and there is Stu trapped in outer space yelling, "What the fuck?" as he looks up at Mike's corpse just floating towards him.
which I think I might have said this early on. I was wondering how they were going to monkey paw these wishes, and
This is so spot on for the game.
yeah,
This
like
is-
super like dystopian and like, yeah, I won the PS1 game, and it's like, oh, I won jack shit. And I was like, I'll be honest, I felt like, oh, this is an uncomfortable ending. Like the thought of being trapped in space, like he's again, I thought, yay, Stu won. Like, oh nope, Stu's dead.
Well, and so here's the other thing about this ending that I like, but they do kind of retcon it later. We'll get there in a second. But what I love about this particular monkey's paw wish is that it will only be known by Stu that the wishes are monkey paw wishes.
Yeah, yeah,
So
that's a good point.
Justifies why people would keep signing up for Twisted Metal, because all they know is that this guy wished for something and then he was never seen again. So
Yeah.
he must have gotten his wish. Now
That's a really good point.
yeah. Now, obviously, Stu's coming back, guys. But
Yeah.
but at the time, I was like, "Oh, that's really cool and fucked up." I do love a couple moments that come up that are really funny. Is when they're driving to John's place. He's like, "Yeah, man, it's a shame that the tournament was a mulligan and no one won." And they're like, "No, actually, Stu won." And he's like, "Oh, come on!"
Yeah.
Like he's so disappointed. But then we get this really lovely, charming scene of Mayhem, Quiet, and John at his family house, and it's just like a montage set to the Cranberries' Dreams,
Which I thought was like so funny.
so good. But it's like them just being like a genuine, happy, like dysfunctional family. The fishing scene is so goddamn funny, where he's like sincerely trying to teach Mayhem how to fish, and then Quiet just pulls out a gun and fires into the water and picks up some fish.
Yeah.
And then Quiet does this, or Mayhem does the same thing and gets a couple fish, which leads to later on, Minion shows up again, and as they're fighting, John yells, "Don't make me show you how we fish around this house." Like,
Yeah.
it's
Oh, we have to explain why Minion shows up.
yes. So yes, they're having a great family time, and then out of nowhere, the TV turns on.
Oh, which we got to say the whole building has power, and I'm like, what is going on? And John finds an electrical panel, and it's, it says solar energy on there. Obviously, it's like a sub panel for solar panels. He's like solar energy. This must be like future gas.
Yeah. But yeah, their TV just turns on by itself, and Calypso is addressing the nation. And what they find out is that Calypso has taken footage from prom and a few other events and has framed it so that it looks like John and Quiet are the people who bombed the stadium, killing the insiders. And now there is literally an outsiders versus insiders full-blown civil war happening, where the insiders are like, "We're done hiding. We're coming out the gates. And any outsider who's willing to capture and kill John and Quiet will be welcome back. And everybody else, you are considered the enemy, and we will nothing like what's happening in the world right now." But
yeah, it's not like there's been like a documented series of like proposed false flag attacks framing a certain group of people. It's not like there's something out there called the Lavon affair that everyone should Google. Yes, Google the Lavon affair. That's not a thing that doesn't exist, about a walled city trying to take advantage of poor people. Don't Google the Lavon affair. But it is on Wikipedia, or isn't on Wikipedia. But they have this grainy footage of people wearing John and Quiet's outfits, which again, I think the writing in the show is really, really good because they're like, hey, wait, how did they get my vest? And she's like, oh, prom night. So it explains why everybody was in these like elaborate prom outfits.
It was to get them out of their outfits. And it makes you wonder. I feel like Calypso always knew it was going to go this way.
Oh, 100%. Because he during the pitch, he was talking about like he wanted like the world's eyes, and he wanted this thing. And when he was talking to the NBC executives, they ask like, "Oh, what if somebody wishes for $1 billion? We can't front that." And he goes like, "Well, you know." I can't remember exactly what he said, but
he says like, "Be careful what you wish for," essentially. But
yeah, and then the exec goes, "Oh, so nobody wins." So he's upfront with his like monkey paws thing. So irrespective of who won the tournament,
well, I was gonna say, I wonder if they filmed everybody and everybody. Like if there's footage somewhere of like someone in Grimm's gear hiding the bomb, someone in like. You know, like, did it go that deep, or did he kind of secretly always know that John and Quiet were going to not win but survive, and that they were like the perfect people to frame? Because he did have the quote of Quiet being like, "I want to tear down the walls of every city."
From their wish.
So it's like he does a great job doctoring all this information to frame them perfectly.
And then they play a press conference from. Like all the insider cities have created an alliance, and I cannot remember what their alliance was called, but it was like the Universal Tribunal of Insiders or something. Yeah. But the acronym for this coalition is UTI, and I was like, dude, like that is such a throwaway joke, but it's so funny.
But as this is happening, they're watching this on the news. And then all of a sudden, Minion just bursts through the door and starts attacking them. And I wrote, Shane called this because when they are able to remove Minion's mask, they see that it is Dollface.
Yes.
Revived with very little memory of who she was in the past, but she is the Minion. And it looks like Minion is going to kill all of them until Stu shows up back from space.
Yes.
Kind of jacked now and like...
Yeah, there's a scene through a sniper scope. Someone is shooting through the window at Minion, and it's like, oh, okay, like who, like what is going on? Is this going to be a new like place, like one of like the characters from Twisted Metal 3 or something? But then Stu kicks in. He's all geared up. He's wearing like very There's a game that came out in 2013 called Prey, and it's his outfit is very like bright pastel, like space gear kind of stuff. Do you remember that movie Moon with Sam Rockwell? Yeah, it kind of had like that vibe, not the like dystopian aliens like or like dirty Star Wars type of like vibe. He had a very like future bright pastel outfit, which I thought was a really good costume design for him. And he's got his gun, and he's ready to blow a hole in Krista's head, and click, and he ran out of bullets. So of course we're leading up to you know, at this point season 3 is like confirmed.
Yeah, no, we're definitely doing something here. And then he explains to them, like, he tells them what happened with his wish, and he's basically just like, hey, you know, I was up there, I felt like, fuck, I gotta get home, so I you know, worked out, I studied how to control the thing, I learned how to pilot it back to Earth, like and then
go ahead.
Did you find us? He's like, you never shut up about this place. I was able to draw a map by memory.
Yeah, he's like, we made a drinking game about it, and that was I did like that. Months had passed, so John, Quiet, and Mayhem have had time to be a family.
Yeah,
and Stu crash lands the capsule in the Great Lakes. And he's like, yeah, I timed it so that my orbit, like he's obviously has developed.
Yeah,
and which I felt like these last 3 episodes should have just been like one long movie. Like the credit breaks really like slowed the momentum for me.
Yeah.
It would have been great if it was like one long ended movie, but yeah, it ends with John, Mayhem, Quiet, and Stu in Sweet Tooth's car at like just a cliche like dusty or rainy crossroads, and during the press conference there's hundreds and hundreds of insider like police cars like leaving the walls. They're hunting for John and Quiet, and they put out a bounty saying like, hey, any outsiders that get us John and Quiet will be considered heroes. So literally the whole world is looking for John and Quiet, and then camera zooms out and we got credits.
Yeah.
But post credits, walk us through that.
We mentioned the one, we get the post credits that's just where Axel was created. But then we also get a post credits where a chained up Sweet Tooth is being brought to his father by a taxi driver.
Yes.
So do we think we get Dark Tooth in season 3 then?
I'm interested to see where it goes, because Charles Kane is a character that drives the taxi cab, Yellow Jacket. But he also I'm pulling it up right now. Yellow Jacket is also driven by at one point Sweet Tooth's younger brother. So he is being pulled by the cab and a guy that looks like a cabbie, which could be his brother. But yeah, Charlie Kane is like the Pope of like there's a sign that's pieced together by a bunch of different street signs, and he's like the Pope of the new Northwestern like coalition or whatever. So maybe Dark Tooth, definitely Yellow Jacket, because we see it in the in the episode. I'm really excited. I hate that we probably have to wait until San Diego Comic-Con of next year for these like season 3 to drop. This show's great. It's got its dips, but all the dips are there for a reason. Like the prom episode didn't make any sense, but it really just they planned it out. Like, oh, the prom episode is gonna lead us up to this false flag event. It's gonna lead.
Smart things that TV shows do, right? Where like the prom episode at the time that you're watching it seems like a throwaway episode, but it's actually the catalyst for all of Calypso's final moves.
Yes. Yes.
It's kind of like Buffy would do that a lot. They would have like an episode that was fully a silent film, and you'd be like, all right, so this is just like a throwaway gimmick episode. And then by the end of the episode, you're like, oh, that was the most character development we've gotten this entire season.
Yeah.
Through the gimmick episode. Like it almost became like an unspoken thing that the gimmick episodes usually were where like the real shit was going to come out for the characters. I can't wait for season 3, dude. This was great. I hope it gets renewed. I hope it's
Oh, 100%. And honestly, I don't like streaming services much. But I made the effort to not pirate this show because I watched the first episode pirated, which I gotta say is a much better experience than Peacock. No commercials, higher quality. I don't know where they're getting these rips from.
They're probably getting it from paying for the extra Peacock with commercials and then taping it.
Like I am so fucking sick of that progressive Superman commercial.
Yeah,
like it is.
I gave up on commercials on Peacock. I did finally pay the extra like $5 because we were watching Community, and there's like 100 episodes of Community, and those commercials add like 5 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
Show. So it's like, all right, until we finish watching this show that we're binging, I just can't deal with the commercials anymore.
Hey man, just pirate it. Just pirate it.
I have the DVDs. We just don't have a DVD player in the living room where we watch stuff. So
DVD players are like $5.
Well, no, it's it's a cosmetic issue. It's like the TV's like flat against the wall and there's no shelving anywhere. So we have to build something to put the player on in order
Just
to have one.
take the DVD player and just like command strip it to the wall. You'll be fine.
My God,
You'll be
I didn't
fine.
even think about how funny that would be. But yes, we could command strip it like upside down where you put the disc in and make it
Yeah.
close upwards.
Yeah.
Oh, that is a great idea. I might be doing that. Thank you.
There you go. But yeah, season 3, I'm really stoked with it. I felt like it came and went. And this season 2 is markedly better than season 1. Which I didn't know if it was going to get renewed for a second season, because like the first season was just kind of like it touched on the games, but this one was full of Easter eggs and references, and they really like I said when we started doing this, it really dove deep into
the promise of the last episode of season 1.
Yes,
because I remember when I got to the last episode of season 1, I thought like, all right, here we fucking go. Now it's time for Twisted Metal.
Yeah, and they really leaned heavy into the fact that it is a video game property. There's a lot of times where these video game adaptations just don't even try to acknowledge that they're a game. Like I'm thinking like the like the Alone in the Dark Uwe Boll movie, like the Doom adaptation. Like it did have, which I think is like a lot of people hated the first person sequence in the Doom movie. I loved it. But these video game adaptations don't touch on it that much, but this one went deep into it. You see PlayStation games like the turbo boost in Roadkill is a triangle button. The weirdness of like the special weapons, like when Raven gets killed, she gets killed with the boomerang missile. I think they're and you know the references to David Jaffe and Steve Campbell on the side of the bus, which anybody who's into video games knows David Jaffe like went on to make a bunch of like really big games like Creative God of War. So I feel like Sony is got their fingers on the creative button, and the people that are show running the show are video game enthusiasts, and it's not like that committee in the NBC universe or NBC pitch scene from Calypso where there's these out of touch executives. Like there's a good crew behind the show. So I think season 3 is going to be bigger, better. It's going to be wackier, and we'll start to see just more absurd characters.
I absolutely hope you are right. But Shane, this is the end of the road. Thank you, Eric Germ of Eric Stravaganza. Follow Huge Friggin' Arms on all social medias and check out Eric's great content. Eric's really good at what he does.
I'll sub right now.
Hopefully we will be chatting very, very soon.
For
season 3.
Yeah. I'm really stoked, and I hope we get more cool video game shows. I feel like this was done right. We had the Witcher show, which was good, but then they got the showrunners that kind of like buried it, and they specifically said like, I never read the books, I never played the video games, I want to make a story that I want to do, and that's why Henry Cavill stepped away. So hopefully we get more people that are interested in the properties instead of just like taking characters and like doing what they want to do. So
I can think of one really good video game show that you host, Dynamic Resolution. So why don't, on our final recap, just remind the viewers one last time where they can listen to your video game thoughts, opinions, and hot takes.
Yes, you can listen to us every other week. Dynamic Resolution of Video Game Show, the #1 video game show on the Geekscape.network. Follow us on Instagram, Dynamic Resolution Show. We got Josh, we got Logan, we got Emil, we got Derek, we got special guests from Ireland Stay. We got people coming in and out talking about all sorts of stuff, from news, reviews. We got a lot of like lately I've been covering the drama in the video game sphere, which has been shockingly fun, which I never thought I would really like get involved with the drama, but it's been fun to talk about. So check us out. You can find us everywhere. Follow us on Spotify. Give us a 5 out of 5. That would be dope. And Matt, where can people find more of you? Your tendrils are all over. You're the Calypso of Geekscape.
That is
where
possible.
Where can we find you next? Where can we find you next?
Well, subscribing to Geekscape TV, you'll see plenty of me. But I would say if you're a fan of Twisted Metal, Horror Movie Night's probably the next best jump to make for more of my content. It's the podcast I've been doing the longest. We're in our 10th year. So go to hmnpodcast.com to see our entire back catalog, or just subscribe to us, Horror Movie Night Podcast, on any podcasting app. Shane, I loved having an excuse to chat with you for 4 weeks in a row. So
likewise, it's been stellar.
Like I said, hopefully season 3 sooner rather than later. Bye, everybody.
Good night, Mike, or good morning.